In this video, I want to show you how to install Ubuntu 18.04 using Oracle VirtualBox. So first of all, let's head over to the Ubuntu download page, and I'm going to use the Ubuntu 18.04.2 long-term support edition. So click here to start the download. Once you finish downloading Ubuntu ISO file, let's head over to the Oracle VirtualBox download page. And in this video, I'm going to use VirtualBox 6.0.6 platform package. And I'm using Windows, so I'll click on this Windows host to start my download. If you're using macOS, you should choose the OS X hosts. So click on that and start the download. So after your download is finished, you should have both of these files. One is the VirtualBox installation file. The other one is the Ubuntu ISO file. Next, we need to install VirtualBox 6. So double click on this installation file and follow the instructions step by step. Once you finish installation, come back to this video. So if your installation is successful, you should have this Oracle VM VirtualBox icon on your desktop. Let's double click it to run. And first we need to create a new virtual machine. So let's click on this new icon. We need to first give it a name, so let's call it Ubuntu 18.04. And then type is Linux, version is Ubuntu 16.04-bit, and that's correct. We can leave at that and click on next. Here it asks us for the memory size for our virtual machine. My machine have 16 gig of RAM. So I'm gonna allocate half of the RAM to this virtual machine. So that's pretty much about 8 gigs right there. If you have different RAM size than I am, you can adjust that value accordingly. Let's hit next. Here for the hard disk, we choose create a virtual hard disk now. So let's click on create. And the hard disk file format should be VirtualBox disk image. And let's click on next. And we leave the storage to dynamically allocated. Next. Then we want, so I have 2 terabytes of disk space in my PC. And for me, I want to about 200 gigs for my virtual machine. If you have a different disk space than I am, you can adjust this value accordingly. So let's click on create. Now here is our virtual machine. So before we can start this virtual machine, we need to first change some settings. So let's select the virtual machine and then click on settings. For general settings, let's go to advanced. And then for shared clipboard, let's click on bidirectional. Also for drag and drop, also bidirectional. And then go to systems, processor. I want to allocate 4 CPUs to the virtual machine. If you don't have this much CPUs or you have different cores in your computer, you can adjust this setting accordingly. And then we go to display settings. For the graphic controller, let's select the VBox SVGA. And this will enable us to go full screen mode on our virtual machine. And then we go to storage. For controller, let's select empty. And then click on this kind of like a CD icon and choose the Ubuntu 18.04.2 desktop-amd64.iso. And then for the rest of the settings, we can leave them as default. We can click on OK. Now we can start our Ubuntu virtual machine and installing the virtual machine. Okay, so now the installation is started. On the left hand side, we can choose what language we want to use. For me, I'm going to choose English. And then we click on this install Ubuntu button. Next is to select the keyboard layout. For me, I'm going to choose English US and English US. and you can adjust your settings according to what language you speak, what kind of keyboard you're using. Here is the updates and other softwares. We're going to use the normal installation as well as the install third-party softwares for graphics and Wi-Fi. If you don't need like Office softwares and games or media players, you can go with the minimal installation as well. Let's click on continue. And here we choose the erase disk and install Ubuntu option. Because we're installing this inside of a virtual machine, and we're basically creating a virtual hard disk, so we can pretty much ignore this warnings because it won't erase any actual files on our actual hard drive. So we can click on install now to start the installation, and we click on continue, and then choose our time zone. I'm in California, so I'm going to choose the Los Angeles. You can choose this based on where you're located on the planet, and then let's click on continue. Here we need to give our virtual machine a name. I'm going to call this Coding Master. And then for the computer's name, I'm gonna leave at Coding Master and delete the VirtualBox part. Username is Coding Master, and password, let's enter a password. Now select the require my password to login option and then click on continue. So now it starts to copying all the files, installing the operating system, and you can actually pause the video, and once the installation is finished, come back to the video to see what's happened next. So now the installation is finished. We can restart the computer to start using Ubuntu. But this restart now is actually not working. Let's try to click on it and see what happened. So it tells us to remove the installation medium and reboot. What we're gonna do is just click this button to close the window. Let's select power off the machine and then OK. So we go back to VirtualBox and then select Ubuntu 18.04 and then we start this again. So we have to restart manually instead of using the restart button. So now, as you can see, we have our username here, and we can click on this and type in our password and hit enter, and we can log into our machine. So let's just wait. Here we go. We log into Ubuntu successfully, and we can actually start using it. So we can click on next, don't send my information, and then next. All right, so we're done installing Ubuntu inside of VirtualBox. So that's it. Hope you guys find this video helpful, and thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.